Howdy everybody. I wanted to do a quick video to try to explain to the Republicans how to win a state of Democrats, state run by Democrats. Right here we have the governor candidates, and as I predicted, which I probably said in a previous video about the primary, the Democrat of course won because we can only put, apparently we could only advocate for loser Republicans in our state of Washington. Um, I wrote my name in for governor because both these candidates literally seem to be the same person. You know, Bill Bryant, I look on his webpage, nothing on here about guns. How can, he's supposed to be a Republican, there's nothing about him on guns. I got a link. I probably should have seen if I could get it, but there's a link you can look at them on the NRA website. The NRA, this Republican candidate has a B rating for the NRA. He's, how does a Republican get a B rating for the NRA? The NRA is not even the most radical gun rights organization. The most radical gun rights organization would put this guy at a, if he's got a B for the NRA, something like Gun Owners of America would put him at an F. Why I would put him at an F for gun rights, just simply because right here, Bill Bryant, the Republican candidate, supports Initiative 1491, which is the gun confiscation without any kind of, probable cause of committing a crime, or without committing a crime, or being convicted of it. Without being convicted of a crime, you could have your guns confiscated. I sent this guy, and I sent all of the candidates an email. I sent him an email asking 3 questions. I did not get a response from either of the candidates. So why would I vote for him? They don't think my vote matters. So there's no point in me voting for someone that doesn't think my vote matters to them. Kids, schools, both the candidates talk about education for kids are exactly the same. Jobs, government doesn't create jobs. The stupid Republicans should not be trying to say that government creates jobs. I got kind of excited in a candidate forum for the governor candidates with Bryant and Inslee, where where Inslee made the said that Bryant was against the minimum wage. That got me all excited, but Bryant had to come out and say that he supported the $15 an hour minimum wage at the Seattle port. So Bryant is absolutely for the minimum wage. So that was one thing that killed it for me. I don't care about traffic in Seattle. Taxes, he doesn't say anything about what he wants to do about taxes. He just explains what he did. He wants to, he might not create more taxes, so he might think that they're all the same, and Inslee doesn't seem to say anything about taxes. So both those two candidates are the same salmon. Why the heck? There's nobody in this state cares. Nobody cares about the salmon. They want to know what you're going to do for them, and fixing broken bureaucracies. Oh, hey, look. down here, even Inslee wants to fix that. The annoying part, I watched one or two of these gubernatorial debates, and it's just the Bill Bryant, the Republican candidate, arguing that he can do, Jay Inslee can't do what Jay Inslee says Jay Inslee is going to do, so it's Bill Bryant is going to do what Jay Inslee said that Jay Inslee is going to do because Bill Bryant can do it and Jay Inslee can't. That's the difference. Where between a candidate that wants to do something and another candidate that wants to do what the other candidate wants to do. So why would I even bother voting for a Republican candidate that's, as far as I can tell, exactly like the Democrat candidate? I want to believe that just having a Republican will be different, but this Republican candidate doesn't care about the Republican base, doesn't care about actual Republicans, doesn't care about gun owners. The only, I mean, other than this statement on supporting 1491, the only other thing I've heard him say was on some sort of obscure radio program that I support the Second Amendment. Really? You know what saying I support the Second Amendment is saying? It sounds like you're saying that the Second Amendment is something that's sitting in a pile somewhere, and when someone puts it at your desk, you're going to sign it and approve it. The Second Amendment is already law. We want to hear a candidate that support. I'm looking for a candidate that that will say, you're right. It's your right to keep and bear arms. So I'm gonna go into. Well, you can even read their voter pamphlet statements. They're for the kids. They're for college. They're for efficient government. The only difference is that Inslee might want to implement some kind of carbon tax. And, that's not happening. There was an initiative that luckily, amazingly enough, people were smart enough to vote against it. There's a bunch of other initiatives they voted for. I don't know how the heck you can be smart to vote against a carbon tax initiative, but dumb to vote for a stupid gun confiscation initiative. Anyways, how does a Republican governor? How does a Republican win this state for governor or for any other position? One, you gotta be loud and proud about the right to keep and bear arms. Two, you have to decriminalize cannabis or marijuana, whatever you want to call it. Not legalize it. Don't put in bureaucracy. Don't put limits on it. You need to decriminalize it. You need to advocate for the idea of using cannabis as a fuel source for your vehicle, because that way you get all the environmentalist types that are terrified of oil pipelines going, oh, that's, yeah, because they're always the ones saying that, oh, we can use cannabis for everything. So you can't have a huge regulatory bureaucracy, because as the regulations for cannabis are right now, it would be impossible for any business to turn cannabis into a fuel source for your car, because you're limited in the amount that you're allowed to grow. What was the third thing I was thinking about you need to do as a candidate? You need to talk you need to use things like social media. You need to get away from all the stupid, you know, Republican forums in some hotel somewhere. Get on places like YouTube and hold live streams. You know, do Q&As on, do Q&A videos. Have people email you questions they want to know about you and your stance and answer them. You don't have to bother going to any media. Nobody watches TV anymore. They're on the internet. They're looking at videos on their internet. They don't want to listen to some leftist media outlet, give them like five word bits about what you supposedly stand for. Uh, you need to advocate for absolute liberty. When people are free to do what they want to do, they do not advocate to take away your rights. You need to allow people the freedom to be, drug addicts if they really want to be. When you do this, you can build up a flourishing society around all these people. They won't be out shooting each other, committing criminal acts and whatnot, because they can grow the stuff in their own backyard. You can grow tomatoes in your backyard. If you can grow cannabis or whatever in your backyard just like that, you're no longer going to have people trying to steal the crap or trying to do it in sneaky ways and get it in and out behind closed doors. And all the while, people, all of us Republican types will be building this great society around all that. You're never, ever going to have a perfect society. You should absolutely understand that as a Republican candidate, and you should make that known, because once you can admit to yourself that you can't, it's impossible to have this perfect society where everyone's happy, then you're going to be able to actually create a society that will actually eliminate many of these problems. Because when you have a flourishing society, people tend to not turn towards the more dirty, I suppose you could call it, aspects of society. When you have rich people, when people have money, you're a Republican candidate. You should absolutely understand economics. It's simple. When people have money, they can afford higher end alternatives, which you can get the environmentalists with this too, because while you understand as a Republican, or you should understand that many of these clean alternative energy sources are very, very, very expensive and inefficient. But you understand that when people have money, they can afford these alternatives. And when people have money, you have a cleaner society. It's not government that cleans up the society. While there is a need for criminal, for law enforcement to go after crime, but when you have a more prosperous society, there's less incentive for people to engage in criminal activity. So, as I am saying, as a Republican, if you want to win this state, you need to rethink what is a Republican. You need to stop throwing away your Republican base just to get more votes from the Democrats. You can absolutely get the Republican base to vote for you, but you have to do those things that I mentioned. You have to talk about guns. You have to, you have, I mean, you have to absolutely be for free speech too. I should have mentioned that, as well as religious freedom. You have to be for the decriminalization of drugs, not legalization. You need to decriminalize it, and and as you're saying that, you need to advocate for the more sophisticated parts of cannabis. Creating fuel for your car, or creating all other kinds of products out of it. Just start being a Republican and start learning to advocate for Republican values for Democrats, for people who would be Democrats, who believe in Democrat values. Start advocating for the liberty of Democrats, but support and be absolutely for what your Republican base is all about. You have to be a Republican. If you're not going to be a Republican, just mark yourself as a Democrat. You will win as a Democrat, but you won't. I mean, you're not getting Republicans voting for you now, and you still won't get Republicans voting for you, but you'll win as a Democrat. So until you're going to actually be a Republican, you're never going to win. And that's it. You need that's it. Yes.